Hey, one of my favorite times of the month, we are talking with Richie Kandawal, the CEO of PriceLabs here on the Fearless Investor channel. And if you haven't already, guys, make sure that you go and download and get PriceLabs implemented into your business with our free 30-day trial. You get an onboarding training as well with Richie's team. And all you're going to do, if you're watching on YouTube right now, click on the description down below that says start your free 30-day trial with PriceLabs. If you're listening on the podcast, go to fearlesskyle.com/PriceLabs, and you can get that free 30-day trial right away. You're going to want to use it. I don't care what you're using, or if you're not using anything, you're leaving thousands of dollars on the table. I am the exact epitome of that, because I was doing that for over 18 months before I started using PriceLabs. And gosh, as soon as I started using it, income went through the roof, time spent on my pricing went down, and that's exactly what we want, right? So Richie, thanks for being with us today. Last month, we talked about, kind of those 2 or 3 things that you want to really pay attention to when you're, checking in on your PriceLabs account. One of them was base price, and we're going to do a deep dive today on how to set your base price to make sure you're competitive. So can't wait to talk about this one, man.
100%. And this is, I think, one of the very important things that you do as you come into PriceLabs is setting your base price, right? And oftentimes we get a question around why can't PriceLabs do set my own base price? We generally know what's happening in the market. We know a little bit about your property, but what we really don't know is if you have maybe a Monet in your property, right? I just don't know that, right? It's very hard for me to really know that, right? I can know that you have a beachside property, but maybe you just have like a ridiculous view of a cliff that overlooks sunset, and it's really hard for me to, as a business, know that, right? Which is why we make certain tools available to you to help you decide how to set your base price. Okay.
Yeah, I love it.
So that's what we're going to talk about today. Again, our intent is to make pricing as easy as possible for you, so that you can maximize the amount of money that you can make. Now, Kyle, can you confirm if you can see my screen here?
I can see it.
All right. So guys, if you're not familiar with PriceLabs, you'd add your listing, you'd select if there's a property management system, or if you're directly connected to Airbnb, you're going to import your prices. You're going to click review prices. There's a guide that walks you through how to do this inside PriceLabs. And then you're going to land up at a screen like this, and it'll ask you to populate your base price. Now I already have a preset property that I'm already using, but assume I didn't have anything here. You'll click this, help me choose a base price. Once you click that, you'll see normally 3 options. Again, I've been using this property for a while, which is why you see recommended here. But what you're going to see is you're going to see a base price that's called imported. You're going to see market based, or you're going to see custom. Now, imported is if you have been if you've been in the short-term rental market for a while, and if you're intimately familiar with how to price your property, we're going to look at how you've been pricing. We're going to look at the seasonality trends in your market, and we're going to compress it down to come up with a base price. A base price is a starting point around which we fluctuate your pricing, right? So you'll see a recommended price, in which case, or imported price. If you feel comfortable, you're going to click confirm, right? But for most users that we come across, you haven't spent enough time in the market to really know your market, right? And so what you're going to then come to is a market-based pricing. In market-based pricing, whatever your bedroom size is, we create a predefined comp set of +1, -1 bedroom sizes, right? So you're saying this is a 3-bedroom apartment, and I have created a +2 bed, a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, and 4-bedroom within the area. In this map, you can see where your property is and where all the properties around it is, right? This is, of course, not a very super popular area. I have no idea which country even this is. Okay, somewhere in Grand Canyon, somewhere between Flagstaff and Grand Canyon, right? And some area that's not, there's not a lot of Airbnb in that region, right? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 3 calls. Number 1 call that I'm going to make is, do I want 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, and 4 bedrooms, all of these included, or I'm just going to look at just the 3 bedrooms, to compare my base price. Number two call that I'm going to make is whether my property is like a basic property, right? Whether it's a medium quality property or whether it's a high quality property, right? And you'd see the number up here in 316 change. If it was low, I would say maybe 221. If it was a medium quality, 262. If it was a high quality, 316, right? Now, it can, like, you may choose to go a little bit higher as well if you really wanted to, right? But that's like the general where we are saying, now, if you have just an exquisite property, that's a whole different story, in which case you may want to charge ridiculous. But in general, those are three segments that we're catering to. And this is where be a little bit honest with yourself about your property, right?
Yes.
Of course, each of your property is your own property and you feel extremely good about it, right? But you may want to be a little bit more honest about your property and say whether it's a high quality property or a medium quality property. One thing that you can do is, if you come across here, you'd see all of these dots, which are the other three, because we've only selected 3-bedroom. You'd see other 3-bedroom properties. You can also see how many people do they sleep, right? And what you can do is, if I click on this dot, it will open the Airbnb property. Do you guys see that thing open up?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So you can see the Airbnb property and you can be like, okay, am I similar? Am I not similar-ish, right? So three things that we're going to do, right?
Just to pause really quick, Richie, that's awesome. I didn't even know that by clicking on those, that it would open up those listings. So I just learned something new too. One thing I would say too is, even if you're looking at these properties and you're like, yeah, mine's better, just keep in mind, if you don't have any reviews, there is this build-up process, right? So it's not even about just the quality of your property. It's about how credible and legitimate are you so far on Airbnb, and are you a super host? Do you have a lot of properties or just one? Is this a brand new property? You know, these are a lot of the things you need to consider, which is why, you know, sometimes it makes sense to start low so you can hit that Airbnb algorithm, gain some momentum, and then move over to the medium and then move over to high.
There you go. Brilliant, right? So again, I'm going to come back to market-based. Three things that we're going to do. We're going to select the level. We're going to say what is the comp set that I'm going to compare to. And now this is a fairly exclusive one. You're going to come here and you'll see a lasso select. I don't know if any of you have used Adobe, but lasso was a very popular thing that came from Adobe. So I'm going to say, maybe, like, if I look at this area, right, for whatever reason, let's assume anything in this Kaibab National Forest area is priced very differently from properties closer to Grand Canyon, right?
Yeah.
So while PriceLabs is considering all of these 20 properties, but in order for me to determine my base price, I only want to look at this area and the properties in this area.
That's good.
Right? So if you see, it's 316 at high right now. If I do this and if I save the area, it's actually moved the other way than what I thought it would. It's actually going to be 318 for all the 3 bedrooms in that area that we selected, right?
Yeah.
And so it's not as evident in this, but if, for example, I'm intimately familiar with Chicago, right? In Chicago, there are certain areas where just on one side of the highway versus other side of the highway, the market prices can be completely different, right?
Absolutely.
And so you may want to, like, as you're trying to think about, okay, what's my base price? What am I playing against? This is the third thing where you can fine tune your neighborhood and eventually come up with a market-based price. This is what we're going to confirm. This is what tells PriceLabs I'm going to tweak against this. So those are the 3 things: market-based value, select your comp. If you want to select your neighborhood, do that. And like Kyle said, if you don't have a lot of history of doing this, start maybe at a medium or start at a low level. And again, you're not doing analysis paralysis here. We're going to start at some point and over time trying to find the right price point for you.
Absolutely. And if you want to confirm that really quick for me, Richie, I want to just show one other thing that I like to use for base price. So confirm, I think at this point, is it gonna, okay, it did upgrade, it updated all those prices. I like to just go one step further with the neighborhood data. There you go. And just see where my line is compared to other 3 bedrooms. And like right now, I look at this and I say, yeah, I mean, cool. It looks like I'm well above the market and I'm going to make great money. But then I'm also, like I mentioned to you, if I don't have any reviews, I might think again about that and say, well, maybe I need to be more in the middle. Maybe if I were to draw a line in between the peak all the way down to the bottom, where would my line be? Well, it looks like I'm above even the 90th percentile. Maybe I want to be more in the middle of the 75th to 90th percentile because I want to get more reviews. Or maybe even, hey, like you mentioned, I have a 3-bedroom, but actually I have 1 bathroom where most 3 bedrooms have 2 bathrooms. Maybe I want to go more the medium or low, and then even make some adjustments based on what I see on the neighborhood data. So that's where I like to start with that base price, compare it to the neighborhood data, try to figure out where my comfort level is based on the competition. And but at the same time, Richie, I think one of the best things about PriceLabs and just the best thing about being an Airbnb host is like there's no such thing as having the right answer right out of the gate. So mess with it on a weekly basis, change your prices, keep on going in there and adjusting, see what makes the most sense and starts to work the most.
Yeah. And I'd be honest, like if say this is 238, you don't really have to break your head over 238 versus 242, for example, right? Because we're going to make enough changes to this 238 for it to not look like 238, right? But I don't know if you guys noticed this. I've dropped this down to 238 and all of these have come in range to some extent, except for whatever's happening November. Is that must be Black Friday, right? Not Black Friday, Thanksgiving weekend.
Yep, you got it.
Right. And so, which is why there is already starting to be a demand and maybe a lot more people going. And maybe this is Easter. I don't know what's happening in April first week in 2023, right? But that's driving the demand. But what you'd see is that it's all come down a little bit, right? $3-4 on a base of $230, $240 is not going to make a material difference, right? And none of our prices are really going to look like 238. They'd start off at 238, but then everything can be very, very different. But yeah, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to set base prices. You can look at this video once again, this question mark. If you click here and if you search for base price, there is a very, very well written article on setting your base price. And so if the video was too quick to follow along, you can always search for the help article and see how it talks about how to go about setting your base price.
I love it. Awesome. Richie, as always, really great tips here about PriceLabs. And if you guys are ready and not already using PriceLabs, go get started. Click on the link down below and you can get your free 30-day trial with an onboarding call started. If you're listening on the podcast, fearlesskyle.com/PriceLabs, get your free 30-day trial started. So Richie, thank you very much. And we'll see you again next month with another awesome tip on PriceLabs.
All right. Take care.